Welcome to Beaver Tracks, a damn good podcast where we bring you inside the world of OSU and share behind the scenes look at Beaver Nation. I'm Kaylene McLaughlin, an admissions advisor at OSU based on our Corvallis campus. Thank you for joining us today. Our guest today is Reethika, who has participated in Community Engagement and Leadership's Alternative Spring Break program. Reethika, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Reethika Banerjee, and I am now a second year economics major with a double minor in political science and public policy. I am from India, more specifically from the south of India, so which is kind of known for its hot and humid climate. So what made me come from a 20 degrees Celsius place all the way to a negative 1 degree Celsius place has definitely been the vast economic opportunities available here, as well as the different research opportunities that OSU has to offer.
Awesome. Could you tell me, just to get started, a little bit about how you found out about the Alternative Spring Break program?
So it was actually in winter term, and I used to live in the International Living Learning Center in my first year. So over there, on the billboard, there was just an invitation to all students of OSU. I just kind of scanned the QR code from there, and then I was redirected to the main page and learned more about like what the Alternative Spring Break program is and what all places they take you to, what all places you have options to go to. So I decided to go for that since I didn't really want to stay back in the residence halls during the spring break itself again.
Sure. Which program did you end up selecting?
So basically, in the application form, apart from the multiple questions as to why you want to do all of this and all of the other general questions, there was a section where you could list down all of like in order which you want to be selected for. So I actually had chosen San Francisco because it was regarding housing and food insecurity. My
Okay.
second option was Yakima, which was related to like the history, land, route, and basic community of the Yakima Reservation. And last was Ashland in Oregon because I kind of didn't want to stay in Oregon. It was just because of that part. So I ended up getting Yakima because it was kind of like a selective process because of the you obviously cannot take a lot of students in spring break. You have to take like a small group of that. So I got selected for the Yakima program.
Nice. Overall, how was that experience? What was kind of start from finish, once you got approved? Did you have to like sign any paperwork, put down any deposits? What was kind of the more business side of things?
Yes, so basically there was a fee, but then there was also a slider to make sure how much you can pay. It ranged from $0 all the way to $200. So based on that, how much ever your capabilities to pay. I was able to pay $80 at that time. So I put the slider to that amount. So that's how much I paid for it. That was like kind of like the monetary part of it. Apart from that, there were some documents you have to sign, some waivers you have to sign just to make sure that you're over 18 and you're consenting to whatever's happening and all the recording and everything consenting to that as well. So that was more of like the business side of how it went on.
That seems like really accessible, surprisingly, like pretty straightforward to the point. I also appreciate that you shared like the monetary value because I feel like this is a program where you're not really sure if there is like, because like with study abroad, you have to pay for like tuition and credits and all that. So thank you for sharing about that. And now getting into the exciting part, what was it like being in Yakima?
So when I went to Yakima, Washington, so like I mentioned, I'm from India, so Corvallis was my first ever place in US, and then Washington was my second ever place. So then when I went there, I kind of didn't go with any expectations. I just kind of went with the flow and seeing how it was because it was a group of 12 students, never met each other before, all completely new. So it's like that kind of scenario that we were going with. I mean, we did have team meetings prior to going there, getting to know a little bit better, but then it's also a different scenario if you're in a different place altogether with each other, 24/7. So that was the whole spiel for that. However, like once we went there, we had a lot of activities during the day. It was either like an icebreaker activity or we were visiting different communities, we were talking to different people. And then we learned a lot about their cultures, about a lot about the reservation as well, a lot about the law and policies as well. So that part of it as well, we learned quite a bit, and we also had we also did few hands-on projects. Like
Nice.
in our first day, we went to I want to say it was a farm. I don't really remember the name of it. It's been a while. But we went there, we helped with like, putting the sand down and putting the mud down and everything. So that was pretty fun. And then we also took a lot of pictures with each other. We had like quite a lot of fun as well. We also learned how to cook different dishes and stuff like that, because we had to like make food for the entire group for like, it was divided between the days and everything. That was fun as well. But every day was uh, they broken down into multiple activities. It was not, and then between those activities, there was also a lot of time for us to hang out and get to know one another as well.
Yeah, that's super awesome. I like that it kind of brought you into that culture too and getting to like interact with different parties and that seems really fun. Were there other econ majors on the group or was it kind of like people from all over different programs?
So there was one another econ major on the group, but apart from that, it was basically to any student of any OSU, any major. They don't really even have to be undergrads. There were also graduate students over there.
Oh,
So
wow.
and even master students. So basically anyone who was invited into the program.
That's super cool. Were you able to talk with any of like the graduate or master students or even students in different programs and kind of learn what they're going through or especially since you're going into your second year, like being kind of like on the younger side of the scale probably, like were you able to kind of ask any questions about what to expect with OSU or kind of figure out what other paths people are going down?
There were a lot of like science majors over there. So we definitely did speak about their experiences. I mean, there was a mix of both first years, second years, even the people in their final years and everything. So we definitely did talk about it. We did speak about like the job opportunities for like graduate students and what the job market is looking for them right now in their degree. That's what we kind of went with. We kind of went with also like talking about the different resources that OSU has to offer career wise, because that's pretty helpful to me since
Yeah.
I was in my first year back then,
Mhm.
learning a little bit more about that.
That's super awesome. Overall, do you have any kind of big things that you took away from this and how it kind of is gonna maybe impact you going forward in your time at OSU? Do you think you'll do the program again in the future?
I definitely do want to do the program again in the future. Maybe not going to Yakima, but maybe going to San Francisco or Ashland, maybe. So that's definitely one of my goals in OSU. Apart
Mhm.
from that, I did learn a lot from this program. I learned about the difference between traditional service and critical service, and basically the differences between them, and like basically the different communities around us, and how interconnected the communities also are. How like social justice isn't just a topic in classroom, but how it's actually being implemented and all of the other stuff, as well as like the different policies and the different laws that govern the nation as well.
Yeah, I'm sure that probably like ties into your degree really well, like being able to connect those two. So that's really cool that you're able to do this experience so early on in your OSU journey. Um, that's really cool that you get to actually kind of like interact with these things that you're already learning in your classes. That sounds super fun.
I mean, it was
Um,
because of this program that I actually did choose to do a double minor in public policy and political science. And because I knew economics just talks about like the monetary side and the business side of
yeah,
it. So now I want to talk more about the human side and the live and this and the policy side of it. That's why I kind of went with political science and public policy as my double minors. So this is
yeah.
how it all tied together and came into a circle.
That's super awesome that just like one experience kind of opened your eyes to all these different opportunities. Especially since like economics is very like business heavy, I feel like from what I've just heard. So being able to tie in those more like holistic aspects and getting to know the human side that's super awesome. I'm really happy that you're able to find that early because I feel like with me, like I added my minors like pretty late and I like by the time I was like finishing them, I was graduating too. So I feel like I would have wanted more time to just sit with those programs and learn a little bit about them. So I'm really happy to hear that you're kind of doing that sooner rather than later. I think that'll ultimately like help overall with like your future and stuff. Um, but I guess kind of this covers my next question is enhancing your degree and kind of like we already talked about how you added these programs just because you did the spring break. Um, so we'll kind of like circle back and come like back around to like the beginning of why did you choose OSU? Coming from India, like what drew you to our program in Oregon? Were there any like particular resources that stuck out to you? If you want to kind of share a little bit about that.
Right. But so when I decided that economics is the path for me, I had actually gone through a lot of research papers and a lot of books regarding that just to get an overview to what I'm getting myself into.
Mhm.
And a small this one was that a lot of the people who had written the research papers, they were all alumni. Most of them were alumni of Oregon State University. So then I started looking more into it. Apart from that, my older sister is also part of OSU, so that kind of also kind of like so solidified my this one that okay, I should go to OSU as well because
Yeah.
she's pretty much thriving in the community, and I decided okay, that might be the perfect one for me as well. And it turns out it is, so that's nice.
Yeah, that's super nice. And is your sister still going to school or did she graduate already?
She's still going to school.
Okay, that's super fun. You guys get to kind of go through it together. Do you guys ever like go to lunch or maybe like do study sessions together or anything like that?
So we have chosen completely different paths from each other. Like I've
For
chosen
sure.
the economic side, she's chosen the biology side, so it's completely
Okay,
different the aspects. But we definitely do meet. I mean, we are sisters, so we definitely do meet on campus as well.
for sure. That's super fun. Are there any other clubs and organizations that have helped you kind of feel at home at OSU or anything like additionally to that alternative spring break that have kind of helped enhance your experience here?
So I am part of the economics club, which kind of just meets and talks about the different economic changes that have been made in the past few months and everything. So we do talk about it. I mean, obviously during the summer, everything is not exactly active and running, but apart from that, during like the academic year, apart from that, they also like host few networking events. So that
Oh,
has definitely
nice.
been one plus point for me because because in like your first day you just start networking left, right, center without looking what you're networking for. So that's
Mhm.
also kind of the one thing that the econ club has helped me with. So that's more of the academic side, and then on like the fun cultural side, then I have the ISA, like the Indian Student Association, and like all of the all of the Indian clubs, basically, I would like to say. So I've also been a part of them.
Super awesome. Is there any or I guess I do want to talk to you about living in the ILLC your first year, kind of what that experience was like, because I know they're really big on like community building and you're very like centrally located on campus. And I just kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit about what that experience was like. And if are you still living in the ILLC? Are you living off campus this year? What's kind of like your plan from here?
So in my first year, I was living in ILLC, and ILLC is called the International Living Learning Center, but there are obviously students who are US citizens as well living over there.
Hmm.
But our resident assistants always made sure that we all meet at least once a week or once a month, if possible, so that we get to know one another. And even if you want like a tight knit group, we still knew each other. We still could rely on each other if necessary. So that was a good community that was formed within our own floors as well, I would like to say. Apart from that, currently during summer, I am living off campus, but then I have gotten the resident assistant position, so I'll be coming back on campus for next year.
Nice. That's super awesome. And that's going to be a really great opportunity to just kind of keep building those communities. And I applied to be an RA, but I kind of decided to do some different things. But I know that's like a really great way to just like do for others, like the same for your first year experience, like just kind of helping others find their communities. And that's going to be really awesome. I'm really excited for you to do that. Um, but. Yeah, those are kind of all the big things. I guess kind of my last big question for you is, are there any advice that you have for incoming freshmen or students that are thinking about attending OSU? Kind of, or what would you even say to your younger self, like you a year or two ago, about all that you've experienced so far?
So a year or two back, I probably wouldn't have even imagined going to the alternate spring break program, let alone being on a podcast as well, because uh, I was pretty introverted. And coming to OSU definitely got me out of that shell. I'm all my on-campus jobs that I currently have all require me to speak to people, so which has definitely brought me out of my shell. If I had to give any advice to like be my future self or to future viewers, I would just be like, try everything. sign up for everything, scan any QR code you can find, and learn more about it. Because I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You won't like it, and that's fine, because then you know for next time. But if you don't try, then you probably miss out on a very good experience. You'll miss out on building a proper community or meeting really good friends. Because
Yeah,
the alternate spring break program, definitely, I found pretty amazing friends on that trip as well, and we're still friends right now as well. We haven't drifted apart, so which is pretty fun as well.
that's super awesome. Yeah, it's definitely very like try as many things as possible. I feel like that's like the one piece of advice that I hear everyone talk about because, and it's even the piece of advice that I give to students as well, is just try because yeah, you never know if you're going to scan a QR code for an alternative spring break, maybe a study abroad internship, maybe even just doing, I know freshman year, I mean, my freshman year was COVID, so it looked probably a lot different than yours, but yeah, those QR codes and just finding posters and things in your resident hall are so helpful to just find people that are here with you and that are part of your community. So thank you so much for sharing. It was great to get to know you and learn a little bit more about that alternative spring break program. But yeah, is there anything like last minute that you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Not that I can currently think of, just uh, try everything. And Oregon State University is a pretty inclusive community. So try everything, be part of everything. And it doesn't matter even if you don't know what you're doing. Nobody does. Nobody knows what they're doing in their first year. They might
Exactly.
say, yeah, but they don't. So it's all fine.
Exactly. We're all in the same boat of just like we got here and now we're trying to figure out what to do next.
Yes.
For sure. Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us on Beaver Tracks. Thanks everybody for watching or listening, depending on where you are. And yeah, we'll see y'all next time.